2.
Welcome back, fans of Colorado Mesa Sports. You are now watching Maverick Postgame, where you'll be updated on all the highlights, stats, and analysis of your Colorado Mavs.
Hello everyone, I'm Ryan Biller.
And I'm Justin Platt. Let's take a look at all the action that took place this week involving our very own CME Mavs. Mavs women's soccer team won in a double overtime thriller against Colorado Christian. Senior Ryan Parker recorded 2 goals in the victory to pick up the Mavericks' first conference win of the 2019 season. The game-winning goal came in double overtime of the 107th minute of the game. Throughout the game, it was an even match as the Mavericks outshot the Cougars 11-10 and recorded 7 shots on goal compared to the Cougars' 6. The Mavericks were first to score in the 82nd minute when Madison Rasmus assisted Parker's first goal of the year. With less than 3 minutes to play in regulation, CCU recorded the game-tying goal of the corner kick, which sent the game into overtime. In the first overtime, the Mavericks took 3 shots and limited the Cougars to 0. Ryan Parker took 2 shots in the second overtime and found the back of the net on her second attempt to give the Mavericks a win and a 1-0 start in an RMAC play. Camry Gunnarsson played every minute of the match for the Mavericks and recorded 5 saves. All of her saves were recorded during regulation, and the Cougars switched goalkeepers at halftime, but in total recorded a combined 5 saves. The final score of the game, Colorado Christian 1, Colorado Mavericks 2. This is now back-to-back seasons that the Mavericks have opened up RMAC play with a win over CCU. The Mavs then played again on Sunday against Colorado School of Mines, and despite being the first to score, the Mavs lost in a 2-1 Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference matchup. The Maverick record now falls to 4-2-0 and 1-1-0 in conference. The Mavericks will return to Walker Field next weekend for more RMAC games. First, they will play MSU Denver at 7 on Friday, followed by a game on Sunday against UCCS at 1:30.
Women's volleyball, the Mavericks women's volleyball team throttled New Mexico Highlands University on Friday, beating them in a 3-set sweep. The Mavericks hit a .408, their highest team hitting percentage since 2009, in a 25-19, 25-20, and 25-11 sweep of the Cowgirls. With the victory, the Mavericks snapped their first 2-match slide in 2 years and won their conference opener for the 8th straight year while improving to 5-4 overall. Casey Gilfert recorded a match-high 15 kills and hit a .414 clip while putting down a match-leading 3 blocks. Fellow middle Camille Smith had 11 kills on an errorless 15 attempts, hitting at a .735 clip, whereas senior outside hitter Katie Scher was also in double figures with 10 kills on a strong .364 hitting effort. The Mavericks were even more dominant at the net, finishing with 9 kills, more than doubling NMHU's total of 25. From start to finish, the Mavs showed utter dominance over New Mexico Highlands. The Mavericks have now won the last 15 meetings with the Cowgirls and have taken 15 out of the last 20. The Mavs then took on CSU Pueblo Saturday afternoon. After going scoreless for 75 minutes, junior Niall Shaftery headed in the long goal of the game to give the Mavericks their first conference win and improved to 3-1-1 and 1-0-1 in conference play. The Mavericks will travel to MSU Denver and Colorado Christian University next weekend. They will first see the Roadrunners in Denver at 3 p.m. on Friday and then face CCU on Sunday at 2:50 p.m.
The Mavs football team barely lost to Western in a score of 30-28 due to a late field goal. The 2 rivals entered the contest unbeaten in RMAC play, with both losing their non-conference bout, the Mountaineers to Division I FCS Idaho State and Colorado Mesa to Eastern New Mexico. The game was played out in runs, with the 2 teams tied at 7-7 heading into the halftime break. Western scored on a 35-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter. The Mavericks countered with a 19-play, 83-yard drive that chewed up over 7 minutes of clock in the second quarter. The drive was capped by a 1-yard plunge by Isaac Mestis, who finished the game with a high 139 yards on 19 carries with a 7.3 yards per rush average. Colorado Mesa finished their 14-point swing with a 10-yard touchdown pass from Aaron Howard to KJ Sapp. It was the first of 2 touchdown passes by Aaron Howard, and gave the Mavericks a 14-7 lead early in the third quarter. Western scored the next 14 points unanswered, with both touchdowns coming 14 seconds apart from one another. Both scores were set up by turnovers, one by a fumble and the other by an interception, giving the Mountaineers a 21-14 lead late in the third quarter. The Mavericks answered with 14 points of their own. Dagan Ranks scored a touchdown on a 23-yard pass from Howard. Howard scored on a 1-yard plunge with 13:09 to go, giving CMU a 28-21 lead. Making his second start of the season, Howard finished the game 20 for 31 with 223 yards, 2 touchdown passes through the air, and a rushing touchdown. The Mountaineers scored the final 9 points of the evening, including Davis heroics. The Maverick defense limited the Mountaineers to just 290 yards of total offense, including just 33 yards rushing, a forced turnover. Senior Mason Newton led the Maverick defense front that finished with 7 sacks and 11 tackles for loss. Newton had a career-high 3.5 sacks, while defensive lineman Reed Rowan finished the game with a game-high 11 tackles and 1.5 sacks. Senior wideout Peter Anderson finished the game with 9 catches for 123 yards. Both were game highs. Colorado Mesa will be on the road next week to take on Chad Run State Eagles in Nebraska. The Eagles are coming off a loss to Fort Lewis on Saturday. Thank you all so much for joining us this week for this week's edition of Maverick Postgame. Join us next week for more coverage of your senior Mavericks. I'm your host, Justin Platt.
And I'm Ryan Biller.
And have yourselves a amazing day.